There's two types of people in the world. People who walk into a place just hoping nothing pops off. And then there's people who literally go out waiting to pop off. They can't wait to squabble. That's Dre Greenlaw. Dre Greenlaw is the likes to fight guy. And every single football team needs the likes to fight guy on their football team. He's got the squabbles in him, man. He's born with it. Born with a mean streak. Fred Warner is a hell of a player, an incredible athlete, a massive IQ and student of the game. He understands angles. He understands everything. He plays with violence, and I am not insulting Fred Warner in any way, shape, or possible. He could start for your favorite football team, and you'd be better off at linebacker than you probably are with the guy you got. He is future Hall of Fame level talent, Fred Warner. He's not likes to fight guy.
Fred Warner is so proud, Damon, that if you walked up to him and said, ripped his game, he would fight back. He would not like that. But if you came up to him and said, Dre Greenlaw is the best linebacker on this linebacking core, he would shrug, smile, and walk. He might agree, he might disagree, but even if he disagreed, he has such respect for Dre. They're such equals in Fred's mind that he wouldn't question that. He'd be like, all right, I can see it. I can see why you love him.
When I watch Fred Warner and Dre Greenlaw play together, it's the only thing I've seen in a 49er uniform that ever reminded me of Patrick Willis and Navarro Bowman. And Patrick Willis and Navarro Bowman were probably the two best, most complimentary football players I've ever seen on the 49ers outside of Justin Smith and Aldon Smith. Those guys in tandem wreck shop together. And look, the 49ers seem to be aware of this, and that's why they're shutting Dre Greenlaw down. And I'll tell you, to shut him down, I hope that they said, and this will help us give you the deal you want. What would prevent us from giving the deal to you that you want is should you go out there in meaningless football games and hurt yourself. And that same train of thought should be applied to Brock Purdy.
Exactly. Could not have said that cleaner or more spot on than that. And it goes for Trent, and it goes for anybody who is a difference making. Let's just look at it this way. What's the barometer? The barometer, as far as, because you can't do this for every player. Like, I know there'll be people in the chat be like, hey guys, this is football, and you can't do this for everybody. I get it. You're right. It is football, and you can't do it for everybody. So what's the barometer? Who gets to sit? Who doesn't get to sit? Here's the measuring stick. If the spread will change because of you not being there in week 1, then you can't play in week 16 or 17. If the spread won't change if you're there or not there, knock yourself out, buddy. Play your ass off. Go out there and have fun. But guess what? If there's no Brock Purdy in week 1, the spread will not be the same. If there's no Fred Warner in week 1, the spread will not be the same. If there's no Trent Williams in week 1, the spread will not be the same. And that's the barometer for sitting in week 16 or 17 and 18. What do you think?
And I would also, I'd extend it to Deebo Samuel, because Deebo Samuel's future on this team, I know that both of us think he is returning, but it could be in flux. The last thing you want is an injury to Deebo Samuel that would tie your hands from exercising any and all options. So I would sit him, it's so funny when people are asking for more, teams always pivot to like the theory of asset protection. And then when people like you and me are saying it's time to protect your assets, now we got, this is how we play. No, be careful. Be careful. What you should have done was put yourself in a position to be resting guys at this point in the season for the playoffs. But unfortunately, your big boy, we get paid every week didn't apply to week 2 or 3 or whatever happened on the way to your disappointing start. And, there's an awful lot of talking out both sides of a mouth in sports. And that's what's going on here. And it does. Like, I get why they have to say it. I get why they have to say it publicly, but nothing would bring a bigger smile to my face than seeing, Monday Night Football intro, come play through, ball is kicked off, and here comes Josh Dobbs jogging out there. Like, you don't want to play Tanner Mordecai? Fine. Then play Josh Dobbs. You don't want to play Josh Dobbs? Fine. But play Brandon Allen. Don't want to play Brandon Allen? Play Larry Krueger. Play Kevin Krueger. Play Lee Hammer. I don't give a shit.
And then what is, if you're playing Brock Purdy, and they are, what are you saying? Are you saying that Brock needs to show us more before here? Because he's on the verge of an extension. So, I mean, you guys have stated, we're not stating it, the Niners have stated, we want to extend this quarterback this offseason. So you want to extend him this offseason. You're telling everybody and their brother from Diana Rossini right on down that Brock's the guy, Brock's your guy. Lynch went on KMBR. Brock's the guy, Brock's our guy. Fine. If he's your guy, why would you play him in week 18 with nothing on the line when you have other quarterbacks? And I would claim another quarterback that I would like to find out about. I'll say this. I mean, what if Brock Purdy never came in for Jimmy Garoppolo and they didn't find out that Brock Purdy was better than Jimmy Garoppolo for like a year and a half after that? Wouldn't you be sitting there going, man, we wasted so much time with Jimmy Garoppolo. We actually had a better guy sitting right here. Or what if Brock never played and you lost him and somehow he went somewhere else and played great? And then how stupid would you look that you never gave him a shot? Well, if Jimmy doesn't go down, does he ever get his shot? I mean, we Shanahan likes to talk about, hey, I knew in camp if you really knew in camp, why did it take to week 13 to put him on the field? If you knew in camp he was some fucking awesome quarterback, how come he didn't play until after Trey Lance died and Garoppolo died?
This year, in a terrible year, where an offensive coordinator has been fired, a head coach has been fired, a lot of things have gone wrong, as Caleb Williams has absolutely hit a rookie wall, and it's all bad now. He has the third most passing yards in a single season in Chicago Bears history right now. If that's not singularly
that's more of a statement about the Bears. Exactly. But, I mean, the Bears are really bad. But I will say this about Caleb. I mean, the Bears have had a rough quarterback lineage, right?
Forever.
Forever. But I'll say this about Caleb. He's going to get better.
Yep.
The things that bother me about Caleb are him feeling sorry for himself. A lot of the stuff where it's like he's on the sideline. It's like, dude, I mean, you're supposed to be the leader. It's like you can't lead if you're kind of and he's kind of, there's something about him that's just kind of.
Lincoln Riley isn't going to send any players out to talk to any media after this USC loss. I mean, like that's it's generation overprotected.
Yeah, I mean, seriously. I mean, and dude, you're not the first quarterback to experience adversity. I mean, suck it up. It's an interesting concept of, how do the Niners go forward this offseason? How do they kind of rebuild their thing? Do they start to look to trade some guys? Is there a market for any of these guys? I don't know if they have that. I kind of question whether the 49ers have this caliber of creativity and relative coldness. They seem like they're in love with CMC. They love their players in a way that it's almost not, it doesn't enable them to move off. But I kind of agree. I CMC at best is going to be damaged goods going forward. If you could get a pick for CMC, and Denver makes sense because he's from Colorado, I would do it. I I wouldn't give him away for a third round pick, but if I could get a decent pick for CMC, I'd consider doing it just because he's got to start thinking that way.
If he's half the player he used to be, that's still 10 touchdowns next year. I'll take those. Yeah. I think
Ashton Gianti is pretty special too.
If you really, really, truly wanted to say who are the two players on this team that have established themselves as highly paid, could trade them, get big back value, Nick Bosa and George Kittle. And I wouldn't trade either of those guys. Thanks for watching. Tune into the Damon Bruce Show live on YouTube every weekday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific.